Hello, this is part 2 of our lecture on conditional tests and if statements. After understanding conditional tests, we can start our own writing of if statements. Several different kinds of if statements exist because last time, isa lamang to kabuk na if statement ang na-perform is just a simple if statement. And our choice of which to use depends on the type and number of conditions you need to test. So again, let's review the simplest one. This is the syntax of how we are going to write our if statement. No? Look at the code that I've written on line 3. On line 1, ako lang i-define ang variable x be equal to 10. Ang line 3, we begin with if and then ang atong conditional test. In this case, the conditional test na atong i-perform is equal ba siya, no? Mag-output lang og true if equal ang x equal to 10 nga statement. So, after ana, again, don't forget to put the colon symbols. Kanang 3 codes after line 3, meaning si line 4, line 5, and line 6, those are the only commands nga i-perform ni Python after sa if statement number 3. Si line 7 and line 8 are not anymore part of if statement number 3. If Python finds the conditional test to be true, i-perform ni Python ang lines 4 to 6, which is print, this is the number 10, i-perform ang operation y be equal to 2 times x, and then i-print po niya again, when multiplied by 2, the answer is y. Okay? So what if this is false? What if x is not equal to 10? So dili na siya i-perform ni Python, yet mag-write lang gyapon siya og end. Okay? Because line 7 and line 8, which Python will print a blank line and the word end, is independent of the if statement of line 3. Okay? I hope that's clear. After the colon sign, Python recognizes those lines as the commands nga i-perform niya. So in this case, line number 4, line number 5, and line number 6 lang ang only command nga i-perform if true ang conditional test after sa if statement sa line number 3. Okay? Next type of if statement is the if-else statement. An if-else block, we call the statement plus the commands under it as a block. An if-else block is similar to a simple if statement, but the else statement allows you to define an action or set of actions that are executed when the conditional test fails. So try to observe from this set of codes. Line 1 is i-define lang si x be equal to 3. Si line 2, i-define si y be equal to x to the power of 2 minus 4. Okay? So sa line 4, mag-start ang atong if-else statement. So line number 4, if y is less than 0, i-print niya, surely x is less than 2. Else, meaning, if na-find ni Python na false ang statement number 4, or line number 4, ang statement after sa if na statement, if na-find na niya nga false, i-print niya you entered a number that is 2 or up. Okay? Again, in this case, i-test ni Python sa line number 4 ang conditional test nga if y is less than 0. Now, what if y is greater than 0? So false ang number 4 nga line. So tungod kay false ang number 4 nga line, false ang condition after sa if nga statement, i-perform ni Python ang command after sa else nga statement. So sa two examples, the same set of codes but two different results. Sa taas nga portion is unsa man si x is equal to 3. So if x equal to 3, x to the power of 2, that's 9 minus 4, that's 5. So y is greater than 0. So na-fail ang test nga if y is less than 0. That's why gi-print ni Python. So first part is you entered a number that is 2 or up. Okay? So lower portion, atong given na x is 1. So 1 squared, that's still 1 minus 4, that's negative 3. So conditional test nga if y is less than 0, is negatively less than 0? Yes, that's true. That's why gi-perform ni Python ang command sa line number 5. Surely x is less than 2. Okay, is that clear? Again, to sum this slide up, i-perform ni Python ang command under sa if statement if ang condition after sa if statement is true. If false, or in other words, else, no, i-perform ni Python ang commands under sa else nga statement. Okay? So you could also write your own codes the same ane para inyohang ma-exemplify, no, or ma-prove niyo among yourselves and so on good exactly paggamit og if else statements. The if else chain. Often, you'll need to test more than 2 possible situations. And to evaluate these, you can use Python's if else syntax. It runs each conditional test in order until one passes. When a test passes, the code following the test is executed and Python skips the rest of the test. Okay, so yan yung netabo. Before, if true si conditional test, after sa if, no, if true to, i-ignore na ni Python ang else. If false, i-perform ni Python ang else. So, natay doha lang, si Python, lala siya doha ka option. If true, i-perform niya si if false, i-perform niya si else. Now, what if we have more than 2 possible situations? That's why we could use another statement, the elif. Okay? So, we have 3 possible situations, no? So this is a simple example of a grade comparison system or grade determination. Tagani mo si program og numerical grade nimo, then hatagan kaniya og so tawag character grade or letter grade. The same to atong SLMIS, no? Maybe our SLMIS has some codes inside it nga looks just like this. Okay? So if our grade is 90, natay tulo ka possible outcomes, no? Number 1 is sans or see you next sem. Ang number 2 is you passed. General lang siya nga kuan nga you passed. And naisa ka outcome nga you got an A. Okay? So tulo. Pwede nga see you next sem, pwede nga nakapass ka tuod, and pwede pud nga nakapass ka pero A gyud imong grado. Okay. So in this case, atong given variable nga define is 90. So if grade is less than 50, ay siya magprint og see you next sem. Is 90 less than 50? False. So skip niya si if, ato siya kay elif. Is grade 90 less than 90? False, di ba? Okay ra siguro 90 less than or equal to, pero walang may equal to. Is 90 less than 90? No, that's false because 90 is equal to 90. So elif grade less than 90, or meaning elif 90 less than 90? No. So skip gyapon ni Python ang elif. So in this case, false si if, false po si elif. Wala na may lain nga choices si Python, i-perform niya si else. So mahulog dire, ayha lang si Python mag-perform og else if false tanan if and elif statements above it. That's why wala siya i-choice. Wala man kabalo actually si Python unsa iyang gibuhat, no? Kay kita man sugo o nag-code sa iya kung sa iyang i-print kung wala na siya lain choices. So tungod kay si Python wala lain choices, false man tanan nga conditions. That's why nag-print lang siya og you got an A. So we have another example. logic-wise is the same as the example sa previous slide. Ako lang gi-tweak gamay, ginuwagan og medyo some form of creativity, no? So, pero again, logic-wise pareha ra because natay tulo ka possible outcomes, no? What are our three possible outcomes? Either line 8, line 10, and line 12, no? Muna tong three possible outcomes, which is more than 2. Kung more than 2 siya, kailangan na magamit og if, else. So what are our three possible outcomes? If we are eligible to vote and go inside mall, if we can't go inside mall but are eligible to vote, and we are young enough to vote and go inside mall. So mo nang tulo na to ka possible outcomes. So unsa man akong gi-print diri nga code. Ang i-input lang yun diri nga value nga pangitaon ni Python for conditional testing is ang age raman, no? Ang name is just for writing our name. So if our age is greater than or equal to 21, line number 7, no? I-print ni Python ang line number 8. Okay? Elif, if indeed less than 21, pero more than 18, so that's line number 9. I-print ni Python ang line number 10. You can't go inside mall but at least you're eligible to vote. So what if false? What if false si line number 7 and line number 9? My age is less than 21 and also less than 18. That's why Python has no choice but to perform the statement after sa else, no? Kaya wala man siya lain nga pangitaon. False man si if, false po si elif. That's why i-perform niya ang line number 12, which is the command after the else statement. You are young enough to vote and go inside malls. Alright? So si line 8 is just under line 7. Si line 10 under ni 9. Si line 12 under ni 11. Either anang tulong may tabo, i-perform gyapon ni Python si line 13 and line 14. Okay? So kay dili man sila under kanang line 13 and 14, dili na sila under ni 11 ha. Independent na sila sa atong conditional testing and if else statements. Whatever may happen, i-perform good per ni Python ang line number 13 and line number 14, which is thank you for participating. Okay? So how do we know? Just by looking at our codes, kung asang under sa if nga mga statements, elif statement and else statements. Again, using our indent, no? So if our codes will be very, very complicated na, dengan nagaytag ipag-tests ng mga condition after condition, kani very straightforward lang muna siya, no? Don't forget to take note or observe ang atong mga indentations, no? Because mo gina pangitaon nun gud permit ni Python ang indentation, no? Maybe i-perform ni Python ang tanan codes na itong ibuhat, but if that's not the outcome that we want, maybe nag-create atong own nga logical error, no? And that I think na-introduce na nato na last meeting. Earlier, the previous 2 slides ago, ato na-introduce tong example na grading system, no? Input ko og numerical grade na ako, then i-output ni Python either see you next sem, meaning bagsak ko, or pasar ko, or A ko, no? So, technically, na-generalize lang ni Python akong pagkapasar, no? Wala siya i-specify unsa nga klase nga pasar. So, ato pang mas i-refine pag ito nga example using multiple elif blocks. So hatagan din natayta ni Python og option nga mas pwede pa ta maka-perform or maka-set og mas daghan pa nga conditions, same as this example, no? You can use as many elif blocks in your codes as you like. Okay? So the same example, enter your grade, no? Enter nato tong grade. If our grade is below 50, so see you next sem. If it's above 50 but below 60, hence line number 5, elif grade is less than 60. That assumes that line 3 is false na, no? Meaning, if true ang line 5, meaning true siya nga below 60 but above 50 siya, of course, okay? So, if line 3 is false, proceed si Python sa test nga line 5. If indeed grade is less than 60. If false pa gid na, proceed siya sa next nga elif, which is line 7. Is our grade less than 70? If false pa gyud, mo proceed siya sa line 9. Is our grade less than 80? If false pa gyud, mo proceed na po siya sa line 11. Is our grade less than 90? No? Again, if false pa gyud na, ay pa i-perform ni Python ang else nga statement and i-print niya ang command sa line number 14 nga perfect A. Okay? So, pwede nyo ni buhaton nga same example as is, or you could tweak it or perform a very similar example. No, ma-observe ninyo nga i-perform ni Python ang pinaka last nga elif until mo masatisfy ang whatever condition masatisfy to be true, no? So if wala gyud, in this case wala gyud elif nga true, especially si if, no? Ay pa ni i-print ni Python ang else nga command. Okay? And then again, line number 15 and line number 16, ako lang gyapong i-remind nga independent na siya sa atong mga if, elif, og else nga block. Wala appeal si line 15 ug line 16. Whatever our grade is, mag-perform gyud si Python og pag-print sa statement nga God bless you, no? So what other examples that you can think of nga mohaom sa kaninga concept? Okay? Python does not require an else block at the end of an if-elif chain. Sometimes an else block is useful. Sometimes it's clearer to just use an additional elif statement that catches the specific condition. So, try to observe this same example as before, no? Katong sa previous slide ng example, tong grading system parera ni. Except for line number 13, no? Notice nga gi-end na to kaninga set of codes with an elif dili else, no? So, unsay kalahian ani in terms of functionality, unsay kalahian ani as before? Wala, no? Wala difference ni nga set of codes as before. Now, sometimes it's more useful, convenient, and specific kung i-end gid nato og specific nga elif condition ng atong code kaysa sa else lang, no? Now, how is that disadvantageous if else atong ibutang? Again, else manggod is a catch-all nga command, no? Aya niya i-perform if wala na siya choices. Now, what if naatay isa ka condition nga na leave out, no? Or na overlook, okay? Na-prove ni Python nga false ta na nato if and elif nga conditions, aya niya i-perform ang else. So, what if naisa ato nga wala nato nalimtan or nalimtan nato og naisa ato nga nalimtan nato og butang bitaw. So, we might wonder after running the code, after executing the code, nag-run siya. Okay, so makita nato, may problema kay ni-run man siya, no? Walay syntax error. And abi nato good na ito. Pero naday isa ka condition nga atong nalimtan. So gi-perform gyapon ni Python ang command tanan, no? Especially ang last nga statement nga else kay. Let's say for example, false tanan and napagyo isa ka condition nga atong nalimtan, wala nato na command kay Python nga i-test to siya. So tungod kay walay makita nga lain nga condition si Python, i-perform yang else. Okay? So if ato tong i-disregard ang else nga, ang pinakalasan nga else nga statement and i-replace na to og elif, no? Kani elif nga statement with a specific yun kay nga conditional test. The same sa line number 13. Elif mo na siya. Elif grade is greater than or equal to 90, which is what we expect nga i-perform ni Python kung else na siya. It's more specific than just placing else. Kay what if again nagid tayo nalimtan og butang and gira na to ni and natay isa ka variable nga na overlook, at least mag-error siya. Nakuha ninyo ang kuan, no? I hope nakuha ninyo ang point or ang difference sa paggamit sa else o dili ta magamit og else. Again ha, just to reiterate, if natay nalimtan nga test og butang sa code nato, and then true day dapat to, pero tungod kay wala nakita ni Python, kay wala nato butang, i-perform gyapon ni Python ang else nga command. Pero if walay else, just like this one, and tuod yun nga naita nalimtan, at least makita nato nga nay error, no? And if nay makita nato nga error, at least atong ma-mitigate or atong ma-repair or ma-debug nato atong code, no? Pero if defined yun nato tanan conditional test na perfect nato og butang nato tanan nga kinahanglan ibutan, just like this one, no? If you notice, ako man butang ang tan conditions diri in terms of sa 10, no? Tens nga multiple, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and above 90, that's already covered na siya sa else. So, walay problema kung if ang atong code is as simple as this, no? Pero if complex na siya, and gusto gid ta nga walay malimtan, no, nga kuan nga conditional test, maybe it's wise sometimes to not use the else statement. Okay? So you could try formulating your own code using an elif to terminate your conditional tests and not an else statement. Okay? Sometimes it's important to check all of the conditions of interest. In this case, you should use a series of simple if statements without any elif or else blocks. This technique makes sense when more than one condition could be true, and you want to act on every condition that is true. So, unsa man ni? Sa tanan natong mga previous examples, although multiple or daghan kay to sila nga mga if, elif, and else chains, no? Ato expectation is at least isa lang ang true aton latanan, no? Now, what if expect nga di lang isa ang true, no? What if duha or tulo? Now, what do I mean? No, tanawa tong example dire, okay? First, I've defined a list with a variable name present to a list of names: Alice, Ben, Charles, ug David, okay? Now, sa kani, ga-expect man ta nga dili lang isa ka student ang present sa isa ka higayon. Pwede biya nga daghan, di ba? Daghan ang present at one instant. Okay? So, it's better to use sa tanan nato ka conditional tests only ifs. So, notice line 3, 5, ug 7, if na sa tanan. If Alice is in present, print Alice is present. If Charles is in present, print Charles is present. If Elise is in present, print Elise is present. Pero as you notice, wala man si Elise, no? So, ang true ani nga statement is only line 3 and line 5. Hence, if i-run ni siya nga code, ang mugawa sa shell is only Alice and Charles is present. Notice what will happen if we replace the ifs with elifs. Tanawa dire sa second portion. If Alice in present, or if Alice is present, print Alice. Elif Charles is present, print Charles. Now, sa third line palang daan, true na biya, no? Take note again, if makita ni Python, if sa atong if, elif, else block, no, or chain, if makita ni Python at least isa anak kay true, i-ignore na biya niya tanan, di ba? Mo tong nahitabo sa previous itong examples, at least isa lang ka if statement ang true, i-ignore niya tanan. So that's why even if Charles is indeed present, i-ignore na niya nga command, kanang command number 6 under sa elif line number 5. Okay? Kay true naman si line number 3, Alice is present naman. But that doesn't make sense, no? Sa kaninga example, this is a type again of a logical error. Logical siya kay perform ni Python without knowing kung sa atong gusto nga intention para sa atong code. So that doesn't make sense because ga-expect man ta nga dili lang isa ka student ang present at isa ka instant. So if that's the case, if we expect beforehand that not only one statement may be true, it's better to use ifs for all our statements and dili ta magamit og elif or else. Okay? You could also use our if statements with lists. You can do something interesting work when you combine lists and if statements. No, as the previous slide, nagamit mo na yung list ato. Pero kato nga slide, kaya-exemplify naman nato ang point of using ifs sa tanan nato conditions. You can watch for special values that need to be treated differently than other values in the list. Okay? So let's try to look at this set of codes that I've also written. So in this example, dili lang isa ka list ang naana ko beforehand kang gi-define, but two sets of lists, no? First list is a list of complete set of courses. Comp_courses is equal to math, physics, chemistry, electronics, and programming. The second set of lists sa line number 2 are the courses nga full na, no? Example. So this gives us an idea nga maybe part ni siya sa isa ka enrollment system nga software, no? So line number 2, full_courses is equal to math or chemistry. Okay, this tells us nga puno na si math o si chemistry. So first command that we will or we want Python to perform is our for loop. For enroll courses, the variable nga akong gusto i-assign sa elements sa akong list. For enroll courses, meaning mo ni ang mga courses nga gusto nimo i-enroll, okay? For enroll courses in comp courses, complete courses in that case, if enroll courses is in full courses, print course is full, no? Again, line number 5, if enroll courses is in full courses, print course is full, pick another course. Or else, print student successfully added. Sakto, okay? Student ba na i-add sa subject, okay? After knowing kung asa ang true or asa or not diya, line 9 is independent of everything else. I-print gyapon niya ang thank you, whatever happens. Okay? So, what happened here is that, di ba abi man nato kuan, abi ba nato og kasaal lang si isa lang ka true ang pangitaan ni Python. Kani kay gi-perform kadaghan lagi siya nangita og true aning kuan kani nga set of code, oh. 5 biya ka separate true iyahang nakuan or 5 ka separate nga output, di ba? Remember nga under si if else nga statements nato or commands, under siya ni for, di ba? And remember, for is a declaration of performing a loop, no? So ang first loop nga iyang buhaton is si element number 1, which is si math, no? Si math ba si math ba sa comp courses naa sa math sa full courses? True. That's why si if statement ang true. Course full, pick another course. Next, nag-loop na pod si Python. I-compare na pod niya si physics. Is physics ba in full courses? No. That's why si else ang true. Student successfully added. Chemistry. Is chemistry in full courses? Yes. So si if ang true. Course full, pick another course. Si electronics, wala. So si else ang true. The same sa programming, wala man siya sa full courses. So si else gyapon ang true. So for every loop, no, for every iteration sa loop or for every element nga tan-awon ni Python sa loop, isa lang man sad ang true ana, di man pwede both true si if ug si else. So for math, either si if ang true or si else ang true. So for math, si if ang true. For physics, si else ang true. For chemistry, si if ang true. For electronics, si else. For programming, si else gyapon ang true. Okay? Okay, was that understandable? So, in this example, pwede data mag gamit og list. In this case, not only one list but two list in particular because this is most useful, no? Maybe ang atong first list is a list of complete set of objects. Then ang atong second set of list is katong mga list nga atong gusto i-compare if naabas la sa first list, no? Most of the programs that we encounter have similar codes such as this one sa kaning example, no? Kaning example, this may be in an enrollment system. Now, what other examples can you think of kung asa ma-apply ang paggamit og multiple lists sa if statements? If di makayag if statement, try using elif. Okay? Alright, last slide. One last thing ako lang gusto i-add. This may be trivial for some but it could be useful especially kung magamit nyo siya sa atong application, no? It's also useful to check whether a list is empty before running a loop, no? Or running a for loop. So, notice sa akong code, line number 1, my list is empty, no? Now, line number 3, di ba so far ang atong i-perform sa list nga statement nato is a conditional test? If x is equal to or greater than or and or in or not in, anong kani after sa if is name naman sa list. If my list colon man dayon, no, unsay but pasabot ana. If mo na atong gusto i-ask kay Python, it's as if asking Python if ang my list na by sulod or wala. Yan na lang, no? So after Python looks at line number 3, if my list colon, tanaw ni Python kung nabay sulod ang variable nga my list. If naa, ayha niya i-perform, no? So malag as if gitsa tanaw sa gid niya daan kung nabay sulod or wala, no? Kay beforehand tanan mo nato nga list kay naman pud noon to isulod, no? Wala naman ta nag-perform kung empty or not. But sometimes it's better nga atong ipahibalon si Python daan kung nabay sulod or wala. Or di lang si Python but also the user of our program, no? Or our software. If my list is or has elements in it, ayha ni i-perform ni Python ang codes nga akong gisulat diya. For my names in my list, print my names, print thank you. Okay? So those set of codes, line number 4 to line number 6, is under line number 3. Now, what if Python finds out nga my list is empty, meaning if my list is false, no? So line number 3 is false. Else, no? Ay pa niya i-perform ang else nga command. Else, print this list is empty. So tungod kay sa line number 1, wala man ko gibutang sa sulod sa my list, empty man gid siya tuod. After performing line number 3 ni Python, nakita niya nga walay sulod ang list nako. I-perform niya ang line number 7, else, for which i-perform niya ang line number 8. This list is empty. So, mo na siya ang nasa output sa shell nato after executing the program. Alright, that's it. This ends our module on conditional testing and if statements. We pair this, these things that we have just learned today, we pair this with what we have learned from for loops and making lists. This could allow us to create very powerful and useful software and applications. Now, I personally can't wait na sa inyuhang mga pangbuhaton nga project, no? So, I'm very sure, whatever it may be, it should involve if statements, if else blocks. It should involve for loops, and definitely it should involve lists and not only variables, no? So whatever those may be, you have the freedom to choose what topic or what application or what situation kung asa pwede ma-apply ang inyong project. Okay? So I hope everything is All set? I bid you Godspeed sa inyong endeavor.